My name is Judy, and I want to talk to you about God's mercy, grace, forgiveness, and love I've found since I have become silent no more. I was pregnant at 19. My mother did not want me to have anything to do with me or a baby, and she arranged for me to have an abortion in Milwaukee. It was 1972, and it wasn't Roe versus Wade yet. And somehow, I drove my Volkswagen to Indianapolis, got on a plane, went to Milwaukee, got a cab, and went to this abortion center. Through the years, I've forgotten about it, but lately, I remember being on the cot, and then during the abortion, I just remember the pain, and I started yelling and crying out, and they told me to shut up. They said I was bothering the other people, and I just couldn't. It was pain, and I don't think it was just pain. I think it was emotional pain. So they gave me a pill and put me on a cot in the back, and then I remember finally calming down, somehow getting a cab, getting on a plane, coming back to Indianapolis, and I spent the night. I had been in nursing school a year before, and I spent the night with the nurses student nurses. And that next year, me and two of the girls went back to Milwaukee, and one of the girls had an abortion. So, and my mother, she used to like to tell me that it was on the feast. It was December the 8th, 1972, the Feast of the Immaculate Conception. So, okay, so I went back to my job. I had got work at RCA, and I just felt, there was something wrong, and so my aunt said, "Why don't you join the Navy?" And so I did. Okay, so when I was in the Navy, I got married, and I joined the Navy to get out of Bedford, and my husband, when we got married, and I did have a son, and he decided he liked Bedford, so we came back to Bedford, and I just, I was there. It was me. I hadn't changed, and Bedford was my nemesis. So I came back to Bedford and immediately started being promiscuous. I was drinking, not a lot, but anyway, I got pregnant again, and I wasn't really sure whose it was because I had been fooling around with the men that my husband worked with. So there was just such a big hole in my heart and in my body that I couldn't fill with sex, alcohol, or anything. So I knew I was pregnant because of the signs. So I went to the Planned Parenthood in Bedford, and I just went in there and said, "I want an abortion." And the lady just kind of was shocked because I was just so matter-of-factly. And so they gave me the address to Louisville. And my husband took me down to Louisville. I got the abortion, and it was on a break. I was in nursing school. And in the middle, at nursing school, you do a thing in the morning, tell what's going on, and they were saying what they were doing on their break. And I said, "Well, I had an abortion." Just like that. And this one girl, she said, she just looked at me. And I just had no concept of what I was doing. I'm brought up Catholic. I am Catholic, but I just had no idea. I could be never mind, I won't say that. Okay, let's see. I did get pregnant again and had my daughter, but that ended up in a divorce, and I just started drinking and going to bars, and it was just not going to church. And finally, when I turned 35, I decided I probably needed to stop drinking. And so I went into treatment, and I stopped drinking for like 8 months. And after, you try, I was doing good, but then at around 8 months, this feeling came, from deep down. And I'm thinking, what is that, And I had to told the counselors, yeah, I had 2 abortions, but, that doesn't bother me. There's nothing. And, but I couldn't I ended up drinking again. And for the next 19 years, I tried like and I couldn't make a year because when the alcohol got out of my system, the feelings started coming up, and I couldn't deal with them. And so alcohol was the only thing that could, make me feel better. But I did finally, it got worse. It wasn't just alcohol, it got worse. So in 2000, I left town and I traveled. I did become a nurse, and I traveled, but that was awful. And I came back to Indiana in '02, and my family, they were all, they had gotten, my family, they're gone. They've had cancer, and I'm the only one of my family that's left. But I don't know. I think what I experienced those 2 years I was out on the East Coast in Miami, that was like a hell on earth, and I guess I needed to have that happen because because I just couldn't get it. I just couldn't get it. So okay, so I can't. I started drinking again. Of course, I don't know if I tried to stop drinking, but anyway, I ended up getting arrested in 2004, and so my daughter had to get me out of jail. And so for a year, I was, on probation, and I didn't drink. Well, it didn't take, because I couldn't, those feelings, I didn't deal with my abortion or anything. So in '05, I got arrested again, and I got put in a drug court. It was a program that you're not really on probation, but you have to, it's like a 3-year program. And so I, at 8 months, when those feelings started coming up, I was like, I know, I just need to have, 3 beers. I just need to drink 3 beers. And I didn't. I had ice cream. But then I had been, every time I tried to get sober, I would start reading my Bible and going to AA and, doing all this stuff. But it was just still, it wasn't enough. And so I started going back to church, and I would go up for communion with my hands, folded. And so I did that for like probably 2 months. And the day I decided I would tell Father Rick, that I wanted to talk to him, he said, well, he knew kind of that I was. So I made an appointment with him, and I had told him about my abortion. I only told him about my one abortion because I was embarrassed, and but I just felt the hand of God. I knew I was, I had been forgiven, and that was what I needed. And God's mercy, I just felt it right on the spot. And so anyway, when I was about 3 years sober, I was going to church, and I kept seeing this thing in the bulletin about Rachel's Vineyard if you were bothered by abortion or whatever. So it just kept looking at me. So I went, and Elizabeth was there also, and Eric, and that was the best thing in my whole life. I did tell the priest about my other abortion, and I felt like, I need, whatever happened to me, through my life, I can use that for a testimony for other people. And I just want to, I just know that my children are in heaven. I have named them. It's Candace and John Michael, and they're waiting for me in heaven with my other family. And that's okay. Let's go. Okay. So I am silent no more because I want the women my age and my mother's age who were affected by abortion to know that God's love, mercy, and grace and healing, and it